Captain Lisa Chin calmly guided Flight 447 through a catastrophic engine failure at 35,000 feet. Passengers praised her as a hero. But when two F-16 pilots landed beside her damaged aircraft, they saluted and revealed a secret that shocked the world. Their ma'am was once America's deadliest fighter pilot. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Captain Lisa Chen walked through the terminal at Los Angeles International Airport at 5:30 a.m. She carried her flight bag over her shoulder and rolled her small suitcase behind her. To everyone passing by, she looked like any other airline pilot. Crisp uniform, wings pinned to her chest, professional demeanor. No one looked twice at her. And that was exactly how Lisa liked it. She was 38 years old, of medium height, with dark hair pulled back in a neat bun. Her face showed few wrinkles, but her eyes held something deeper, a calmness that came from years of experience in high-pressure situations. Lisa stopped at a coffee shop and ordered her usual, black coffee, no sugar. The young barista smiled at her. "Flying today, Captain?" "Always," Lisa replied with a small smile. She had been flying commercial jets for 5 years now. Before that, well, that was a different life. A life she rarely talked about. A life that most people would never believe if she told them. Today, she was scheduled to fly Pacific Airways Flight 447 from Los Angeles to Tokyo. It was a 13-hour flight over the Pacific Ocean, carrying 236 passengers and a crew of 12. Lisa had flown this route dozens of times. She knew every mile of it. She arrived at the gate and met her crew. Her first officer was Tom Bradley, a former Navy pilot in his mid-40s. Her cabin crew included 8 flight attendants, all experienced professionals. They went through their pre-flight briefing quickly and efficiently. "Weather looks good," Tom said, reviewing the flight plan. "Light headwinds over the Pacific, nothing unusual. Should be a smooth flight." Famous last words, Lisa joked, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Boarding began at 6:45 a.m. Lisa did her pre-flight inspection, walking around the Boeing 777, checking everything carefully. The aircraft was in perfect condition, just 6 months old, with all systems working properly. In the cockpit, Lisa ran through her checks with Tom. They tested every switch, every system, every backup. Everything was perfect. At 7:30 a.m., the last passenger boarded. Lisa made her announcement over the intercom. "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Chin speaking. Welcome aboard Pacific Airways Flight 447 to Tokyo. We're expecting a smooth flight today with clear skies and light winds. Our flight time will be approximately 12 hours and 40 minutes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight." The Boeing 777 pushed back from the gate. Lisa taxied to the runway, her hands moving over the controls with practiced ease. Tom handled the radio communications while Lisa focused on flying. "Pacific 447, you're cleared for takeoff, runway 24 left," the tower controller said. "Cleared for takeoff, 24 left, Pacific 447, Tom responded. Lisa lined up the aircraft on the runway. She pushed the throttles forward. The twin engines roared to life, pushing the massive aircraft faster and faster down the runway. The speed increased, 80 knots, 100 knots, 140 knots. "V1, Tom called out, meaning they were committed to takeoff. "Rotate," Tom said a second later. Lisa pulled back gently on the yoke. The nose lifted. The main wheels left the ground. They were flying. The 777 climbed smoothly into the morning sky. Los Angeles fell away beneath them. The Pacific Ocean stretched out ahead, blue and endless. "Gear up," Lisa commanded. Tom raised the landing gear lever. The wheels retracted with a solid thunk. Everything was perfect. Just another routine flight. 2 hours into the flight, they were cruising at 37,000 feet over the Pacific. Most passengers were sleeping or watching movies. The flight attendants had just finished serving breakfast. Lisa was reviewing some paperwork when she noticed something odd on one of her engine displays. The temperature reading for the number 2 engine, the right engine, was slightly higher than normal. "Tom, are you seeing this?" she asked, pointing to the display. Tom leaned over. "Yeah. Temperature's up about 15 degrees. Still in the green zone, but it's trending up." "Keep an eye on it," Lisa said. 5 minutes later, the temperature had risen another 10 degrees. "That's not normal," Tom said, concern creeping into his voice. Lisa was already ahead of him. She pulled out the emergency checklist and began reviewing the procedures for engine malfunctions. Suddenly, there was a loud bang from the right side of the aircraft. The entire plane shuddered. Warning lights exploded across the instrument panel. Alarms blared in the cockpit. The number 2 engine displays all turned red. Engine fire. Tom shouted. Number 2 engine. Lisa's training took over instantly. Her heart was racing, but her hands were steady. She had been in worse situations than this, much worse. Engine fire checklist, she commanded, her voice calm and controlled. Tom grabbed the checklist and began reading. Auto throttle, disconnect. Disconnected, Lisa confirmed. Thrust lever number 2, close. Lisa pulled the right throttle all the way back. The engine began to wind down. Engine fire switch number 2, pull and rotate. Lisa pulled the red fire handle and twisted it. This cut off fuel, hydraulics, and electrical power to the damaged engine, and discharged fire extinguisher into the engine. The fire warning light stayed on. Fire warning still active, Tom said. His voice was tense. Secondary extinguisher, Lisa ordered. Tom rotated the fire handle again, discharging the second fire extinguisher bottle. The fire warning light finally went out. Lisa let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. But the situation was far from over. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Chin, Lisa announced over the intercom, keeping her voice steady and calm. We've experienced a mechanical issue with one of our engines. We've shut it down as a precaution. This aircraft is designed to fly safely on one engine, and we're in no immediate danger. However, we'll be diverting to Honolulu, which is about 90 minutes away. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. The flight attendants will provide more information shortly. Behind her calm words, Lisa's mind was racing through options. Losing an engine over the Pacific Ocean was serious but manageable. The Boeing 777 could fly on one engine. They had plenty of fuel. Honolulu was within range. But then another warning light appeared. Hydraulic system pressure dropping, Tom said. System B is showing red. Lisa's eyes narrowed. The engine failure must have damaged one of the hydraulic lines. Hydraulics powered the flight controls. Without them, the aircraft would become much harder to control. How much pressure? She asked. Dropping fast. We're at 30% and falling. Lisa made a decision. Deploy the ram air turbine. The ram air turbine, or RAT, was a small emergency propeller that could drop down from the belly of the aircraft. As it spun in the airstream, it generated emergency hydraulic and electrical power. Tom flipped the switch. They felt a slight vibration as the RAT deployed. RAT deployed. Emergency power available, Tom confirmed. But the situation kept getting worse. Another alarm sounded. Fire warning again. Tom said. The fire's back in engine 2. Lisa's jaw tightened. The fire had reignited. This meant the damage was worse than she thought. Probably a major failure in the engine core with hot metal pieces potentially damaging surrounding systems. Discharge the remaining extinguishers, she ordered. Tom followed the procedure, but the fire warning stayed on. It's not going out, he said, real fear in his voice now. Lisa looked at the engine display. The temperature was climbing rapidly. If the fire spread, it could damage the wing structure or the fuel tanks. The situation had just become critical. Tom, get me the nearest airport. I don't care if it's a military base, a grass strip, or a carrier. I need a runway now. Tom worked his radio, calling out to air traffic control. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Pacific 447, we have an uncontained engine fire, hydraulic failure, declaring emergency. Request immediate vectors to nearest suitable airport. The controller's voice came back immediately. Pacific 447, roger your mayday. Nearest airport is Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, Honolulu, bearing 245 degrees, distance 280 miles. Pearl Harbor Hickam, copy, Tom said. Lisa turned the aircraft toward Honolulu. But 280 miles suddenly seemed very far away. The senior flight attendant, Maria, called from the cabin. Captain, passengers are seeing flames from the engine. They're starting to panic. Tell them we're handling it, Lisa said. Keep them calm. We'll be on the ground in 40 minutes. But Lisa knew 40 minutes might be too long. The fire was growing. The hydraulic systems were failing. The controls were getting heavier, harder to move. Then her radio crackled with a new voice, crisp, military, authoritative. Pacific 447, this is Viper 11, United States Air Force. We're 2 F-16s scrambled to provide assistance. We'll be with you in 10 minutes. Lisa's heart skipped a beat. F-16s. Fighter jets. They were sending fighters to escort her. This was standard procedure for aircraft emergencies near military airspace, but it drove home just how serious the situation was. Viper 1-1, Pacific 447. Good to hear your voice, she responded. 447, we'll do a visual inspection when we reach you. How are your flight controls? Degraded. Lost hydraulic system B running on emergency power. Aircraft is controllable but sluggish. Understood. Hang in there, 447. We've got your back. True to their word, the two F-16s appeared 10 minutes later. Lisa saw them approach from behind, sleek and fast, their silver bodies gleaming in the sunlight. One F-16 pulled up alongside her left wing. The other moved to her right side, giving the damaged engine a wide berth. Pacific 447, Viper 1-1, the lead F-16 pilot radioed. I've got visual on your number 2 engine. You've got significant damage. I can see flames and there's debris missing from the engine cowling. Looks like you might have had a turbine failure. Copy that, Viper, Lisa said. Any advice? You're doing everything right. Keep that wing level, maintain your speed, and get on the ground as soon as possible. We'll stay with you all the way. The F-16 on her left moved closer. Lisa could see the pilot clearly through the canopy. He was looking at her, giving a thumbs up. Then something strange happened. The F-16 pilot's expression changed. He pulled his aircraft even closer, staring into Lisa's cockpit. Then he pulled back slightly and made a gesture, a crisp military salute. Lisa was puzzled. Why would he salute her? Pacific 447, the F-16 pilot's voice came over the radio, but now there was something different in his tone. Surprise, maybe even awe. Ma'am, are you call sign Dragon? Lisa's blood ran cold. Dragon. She hadn't heard that call sign in 5 years. How did this pilot know? Negative, Viper. I'm just a commercial pilot, she replied, trying to keep her voice neutral. Ma'am, with all due respect, I've seen your face in the squadron ready room. You're Major Lisa Chen, aren't you? Dragon, the top F-16 pilot from the 421st Fighter Squadron. Tom turned to look at Lisa, his eyes wide with shock. Lisa closed her eyes for a brief moment. Her secret was out. But right now she had bigger problems, like landing an airplane with 236 people on board. Viper, we can discuss my resume after I land this aircraft. Right now, I need to focus. Yes, ma'am, the F-16 pilot said, his voice filled with respect. Viper 1-2, did you copy that? Copy, lead, the second F-16 pilot responded. We're flying with Dragon. This is an honor, ma'am. Tom was staring at Lisa. You were an F-16 pilot? A major. Later, Tom, Lisa said firmly. Right now, run the emergency landing checklist. But Tom couldn't let it go. How did you go from flying fighters to flying 777s? Tom. Checklist. Now. He snapped back to attention. Right. Sorry. Emergency landing checklist. They went through the procedures systematically. Preparing the cabin, briefing the flight attendants, calculating landing speeds, planning their approach. The fire warning was still active, but the temperature had stabilized somewhat. The hydraulic pressure was holding at minimal levels. The aircraft was still controllable. They were going to make it. They had to make it. 20 minutes later, the coast of Oahu appeared on the horizon. Lisa could see the runways of Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam ahead. Pacific 447, you're cleared straight in approach, runway 8, the tower controller said. All other traffic has been cleared. Emergency equipment is standing by. Cleared straight in runway 8, Pacific 447, Tom acknowledged. The two F-16s had dropped back slightly, giving Lisa room to maneuver. But they were still there, watching, ready to help if needed. Lisa began her descent. The aircraft was heavy and with degraded hydraulics, it responded slowly to her inputs. Every control movement required more force, more effort. Gear down, she commanded. Tom lowered the landing gear. 3 green lights confirmed all wheels were down and locked. Flaps 15, Lisa ordered. The flaps extended, increasing lift and drag. The aircraft slowed. Flaps 30. More drag. The nose wanted to drop, but Lisa held it level. The runway was ahead, growing larger. Lisa could see the emergency vehicles lined up alongside. Fire trucks, ambulances, crash crews. Tom, if this goes bad, I want you to know you did great work today. We're going to make it, Captain, Tom said firmly. You're the best pilot I've ever flown with. Lisa smiled slightly. You haven't seen anything yet. The approach was stable. Lisa had the aircraft perfectly aligned with the runway centerline. Her speed was exactly right. The descent rate was under control. 500 feet, Tom called out. 400, 300. The runway was right there. Lisa could see individual markings on the pavement. 200. 100. 50. The wheels touched the runway with a firm but controlled thump. Lisa immediately reversed the thrust on the good engine and applied maximum braking. The aircraft decelerated rapidly. Fire trucks raced alongside, following the wounded aircraft. "We're down. We're down," Tom shouted. Lisa steered the 777 carefully, keeping it on the centerline. The aircraft slowed to taxi speed, then stopped about 3,000 feet down the runway. She shut down the remaining engine. The cockpit suddenly became very quiet. For a moment, Lisa just sat there, her hands still on the yoke, her breathing steady. She had done it. 236 passengers safe. Then the cabin erupted in applause. Passengers were cheering, crying, hugging each other. Through the cockpit door, Lisa could hear their relief and joy. Fire crews surrounded the aircraft, spraying foam on the damaged engine. Emergency stairs were brought up to the doors. Passengers began evacuating, though there was no panic now, just orderly relief. Lisa completed her shutdown procedures, moving through each checklist item methodically. Even now she was professional, thorough, calm. As she and Tom finally left the cockpit, the flight attendants hugged her. Passengers shook her hand, thanked her, some with tears in their eyes. "You saved our lives," one man said. "Just doing my job," Lisa replied quietly. Outside the aircraft, something unusual was happening. The two F-16 pilots had landed and parked their jets nearby. They were walking toward the commercial aircraft, still in their flight suits. The lead pilot approached Lisa as she descended the stairs. He stood at attention and saluted. "Major Chin, it's an honor, ma'am." Lisa returned the salute automatically, old training taking over. "You know who I am?" she asked. "Ma'am, every F-16 pilot knows Dragon. You're a legend. 300 combat missions, 2 distinguished flying crosses, the Silver Star. You were the best stick in the entire Air Force." News crews had arrived by now, filming everything. This was too good a story to miss. A commercial pilot makes a miraculous emergency landing, and then it's revealed she was a Top Gun fighter ace. Tom looked at Lisa with new eyes. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Lisa shrugged. "It was a different life. I left it behind." "Why?" the F-16 pilot asked. "Why would you leave?" Lisa looked at the young fighter pilot. He couldn't have been more than 25 years old. The same age she was when she earned her call sign. "Come on," she said. "I'll buy you boys a coffee and tell you the story." They sat in the base operations building while investigators examined the damaged aircraft. Lisa sipped her coffee and began talking, sharing things she rarely discussed. "I joined the Air Force when I was 22, she said. "Flying was all I ever wanted to do. I was competitive, aggressive, the best in my class. I got my call sign Dragon because I breathed fire, that's what my instructor said." The F-16 pilots listened intently. "I flew combat missions in 3 different conflicts. Air-to-air, air-to-ground, everything. I shot down enemy fighters. I destroyed ground targets. I was good at it. Really good." "So why leave?" one of them asked. Lisa was quiet for a moment. "Because I realized that being the best fighter pilot wasn't the most important thing in the world. 7 years ago I flew a mission that went wrong. We were supporting troops on the ground who were pinned down. I made a strafing run, took out the enemy position, saved those soldiers." She paused, her eyes distant. "One of those soldiers was a 19-year-old kid from Ohio. After the mission I met him at the base. He shook my hand, thanked me for saving his life. He told me he had a little sister back home who wanted to be a pilot. That kid's name was Michael Rodriguez. 2 weeks later he stepped on an IED and lost both legs. He survived, but his life changed forever. And I realized I was good at war. But I wanted to be good at peace." Tom understood now. "So you became a commercial pilot?" "I wanted to save lives by bringing people home safely, not by dropping bombs. I wanted to use my skills to help families, not fight wars. So I left the Air Force, got my commercial license and started over." "But today," the F-16 pilot said, "today you were a fighter pilot again." Lisa shook her head. "No. Today I was just a pilot doing her job. I used my training, yes. But I wasn't fighting. I was protecting. There's a difference." Within hours the story went viral. News outlets around the world picked it up. Commercial pilot with secret fighter ace past saves 236 passengers. Videos of the landing were everywhere. Photos of the F-16 pilots saluting Lisa became iconic images. Social media exploded. People dug up Lisa's military records. Her commendations, her missions, her reputation as one of the finest fighter pilots of her generation. The contrast between her deadly past and her peaceful present fascinated everyone. Lisa became an instant celebrity. Interview requests poured in from major networks. Publishers offered book deals. Hollywood wanted to make a movie about her life. But Lisa turned them all down. She didn't want fame. She just wanted to fly. 2 weeks after the emergency landing, the accident investigation was complete. The National Transportation Safety Board determined that a turbine blade had failed due to a manufacturing defect. It was a freak accident, completely beyond the crew's control. The NTSB report praised Lisa's handling of the emergency. Captain Chen's exceptional skill, judgment, and composure under extreme pressure prevented what could have been a catastrophic loss of life. Her decision-making was flawless, and her flying was textbook perfect. Pacific Airways gave Lisa their highest award for service and bravery. But she was more interested in the personal thank you notes from passengers, especially one from a teenage girl who wrote, "You're my hero. Because of you, I want to be a pilot." Lisa smiled when she read that. This was why she flew. 1 month after the emergency, Lisa was cleared to return to flying. Pacific Airways offered her anything she wanted: a promotion, a desk job, more money. She chose to stay exactly where she was, flying commercial routes, bringing people safely home. Her first flight back was, fittingly, Los Angeles to Tokyo, the same route as Flight 447. As she walked through the terminal, passengers recognized her. Some asked for autographs or photos. Lisa politely accommodated them, but she was eager to get back to the cockpit. Tom was her first officer again. As they settled into their seats and began their pre-flight checks, he smiled at her. "Ready, Dragon?" he asked. Lisa shot him a look. "It's Captain Chen, thank you very much." "Sorry, Captain." But he was still grinning. The flight was absolutely routine. No emergencies, no drama, just smooth flying from start to finish. And that was exactly how Lisa liked it. As they approached Tokyo with the sun rising over Japan, Lisa felt completely at peace. This was her calling now. Not dropping bombs or shooting down enemies, but safely guiding people across oceans, reuniting families, helping people reach their destinations. She thought about that young soldier, Michael Rodriguez, who had inspired her career change. She had stayed in touch with him. He was doing well, running a non-profit organization that helped veterans transition to civilian life. His little sister? She had just been accepted into the Air Force Academy, aspiring to be a pilot. Life had a funny way of coming full circle. Lisa continued flying for Pacific Airways for many years. She never sought publicity, but her story continued to inspire people around the world. She became a symbol of how military skills could transition to civilian life, how warriors could become protectors in different ways. She sometimes spoke at military bases, encouraging pilots who were thinking about leaving the service. Her message was always the same: your skills are valuable. Your experience matters. Whether you're dropping bombs or carrying passengers, you're serving others. Find your purpose and fly toward it. The 2 F-16 pilots who had escorted her that day became friends. They occasionally met for coffee and talked about flying. They had nothing but respect for the choice Lisa had made. As for the passengers of Flight 447, many of them stayed in touch with Lisa. An unofficial Flight 447 survivors group met annually on the anniversary of the emergency landing. Lisa always attended, preferring to listen rather than talk, letting the passengers share their stories. One passenger, a businessman named David Kim, summed it up perfectly: most pilots could have landed that plane. But Dragon, sorry Captain Chin, did more than that. She kept us calm. She inspired confidence. She made us believe everything would be okay. And it was. That's not just skill. That's leadership. That's what makes a real fighter pilot, whether you're in an F-16 or a 777. Lisa Chin never saw herself as a hero. She was just a pilot who loved to fly. But to 236 passengers, their families, and millions of people around the world, she was something more: proof that the greatest victories don't always come in combat, and the most important missions are the ones that bring people safely home. The Dragon had breathed fire in war. Now she guided people through peaceful skies. And she had never been happier.